What's going on, y'all? UFC 305 going down this weekend. One of the most anticipated fights of the year, personally for me. Israel Adesanya versus Drake du Plessis. The battle for Africa. Let's get into these main card predictions and breakdowns. We'll start off with the welterweight fight. Kicking off the main card, we got Li Jingliang versus Carlos Prates. I think this is pretty much a gimme fight. If you want to, go ahead and lock in Prates on your parlay. I feel like it's a lock. Jingliang has not been active whatsoever recently. He's a big underdog in this, which he should be. Prates is going to be the bigger guy. He's the younger guy. He's going to have like a 6 or 7 inch reach advantage. Let's look into this fight, take a deeper dive. Prates is going to be 1 inch taller, and yes, he's going to have a 6.5 inch reach advantage. I think this is a gimme win for Carlos Prates. I don't think there's too much more to say about it. He's the younger guy. Jingliang might be faster, but I don't want to trust him coming off that long layoff. I think he's fought 4 times in the past 4.5 years, something like that. But yeah, I'm going to go with Carlos Prates to get this one done. Moving on to Tuivasa versus Derrick Lewis 2. Heavyweight fight. Jairzinho Rozenstruik looks just like Derrick Lewis. I think they got to do that matchup sometime in the future. Derrick Lewis versus Rozenstruik. Be a great matchup, you know. The bald guy'd probably win. Be hard to pick them apart, but it'd be a sick fight. All right, let's get into this fight. Tuivasa is now on a 4-fight losing streak. Not great. You know, we all want to see Tuivasa win. We want to see a post-game shoey, but I don't think it's going to happen. Not this weekend, at least. I think Jairzinho is the better kickboxer. He fights behind his jab very well. Tuivasa is more of a brawler, looking for that one-shot knockout. Kind of wild, which obviously anything can happen at heavyweight. We've seen some crazy stuff at heavyweight before. Jairzinho is going to have the reach advantage as well. I'm not expecting any takedowns, no grappling whatsoever in this fight. I think it's going to be a stand and bang type of fight. I could go Jairzinho by KO, but honestly, I think he's just going to pick him apart, pop him with that jab, and I think he's going to build up damage and win this fight by a decision. Now, if it was up to me, obviously I want Tuivasa to win this fight. I want to see him get back in that win column, but I don't think it's going to happen. Let's move on to the lightweight fight. Mateusz Gamr versus Dan Hooker. This is a very interesting matchup. Mateusz Gamr arguably has a right to a number 1 contenders fight or a title shot even, but he's not that exciting. The UFC doesn't seem to like him, which is fair. But he's got a fight coming up with Dan Hooker. Don't really understand this matchmaking. I don't know what Dan Hooker's done to really earn this fight, because if Dan Hooker wins, are you really going to throw him in a number 1 contenders fight? I don't know. Mateusz Gamr, he's got a win over Arman. I think he's on a 3-fight win streak right now. But I expect him to continue that win streak. I think he's going to wrestle his way to a decision. Probably stink it up a little bit, just kind of lay on top of Dan Hooker. I don't see Gamr finding a finish in this fight. You know what? I'd be super happy if Dan Hooker can put him out. We've seen Gamr on the feet. He got cracked in his last fight even by RDA. I want to say he got cracked by Jalen Turner. So there is a chance that Dan Hooker gets him out of there, which will be so sick. I like Dan Hooker a lot. You know, he's got the new tattoos, a new look going on. He looks kind of scary, but is he going to win this fight? I don't think so. Now, Dan Hooker does have a 4.5 inch reach advantage, which could be huge, but I don't think he's going to be able to keep this fight standing. I think Gamrot's going to get it to the mat whenever he wants to. He's probably going to lay on top of him for 15 minutes and get the decision victory. I actually like Gamrot as a person. You know, he's really me for real. We look alike. But I would not mind if Dan Hooker puts a stop to him right now. I really don't want to see Gamrot fight for the title. I don't know if that's just me. I don't think it is. But also, you know, that might give Charles Oliveira a better chance to fight for a vacant lightweight title. I don't know. I'm just saying. But yeah, I think Gamrot's going to win this one by decision. Let's move on to the co-main event. Kai France versus Michael Scott. I think Steve Erceg is potentially the best flyweight on the planet. He had a great fight with Pantoja. Arguably won. I think Pantoja got it done. But I think the only difference in that fight, which I've said before, is the lack and experience of Steve Erceg. And I think he's going to learn from that fight. He's going to move forward, and I think he's going to take out Kai France. Steve Erceg is the much bigger guy. He's got a 4-inch height advantage, but surprisingly does not have the reach advantage. Kai France actually has him by an inch. Pause. But anyway, I think Kai France is just going to be too little. I'm going to be honest. Steve Erceg, probably the best boxing or striking in that division, in my personal opinion. Kai France is going to be quick, But I like to look at the power on Urseg's side. I think he's going to catch him. I think he's going to put more damage out there. I think he could potentially knock out Kakar France, but I kind of want to go with the Urseg decision. I think both guys are great grapplers, very underrated grapplers, but I think if Kakar France tries to shoot, I think Urseg will be able to stuff it and vice versa. I expect this fight to stay standing, and I got to lean with the person who I think is the better striker in Michael Scott. So I'm going with Steve Urseg to win this fight. I could see a knockout. I think a knockout would be sick. It'd be huge for him. But I'm going to go with Steve Urseg, 29-28 decision. I feel kind of bad for Kakar France. He's from New Zealand. I have a feeling the Perth crowd is going to be on the side of Steve Urseg, which they're usually on Kakar France's side, but Kakar France is actually from Australia. So he's going to get the bias. He's going to get the home crowd with him. But as of right now, I got City Kickboxing 0-2 on the main card. Moving into the main event, I'm so hyped for this fight. The battle for Africa. Dricus du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya. Former champion versus current champion. A lot of people argue that this title shot is not deserved, which, yeah, it's not really deserved. But you cannot blame the UFC for booking this fight. I'm going to be honest, everybody wants to see it. They have the beef in the past, the arguments over who's the real African champ. But anyway, this is an exciting fight. Dricus du Plessis is actually the underdog, which I thought was kind of surprising. It's always interesting to me when you see the champion as an underdog. Israel Adesanya is still that guy, though. I think Israel Adesanya is going to win this fight. And this is not a knock on DDP whatsoever. I think DDP is that guy. He's proven it time and time again. He's been counted out. He's been the underdog, and he finds ways to win. But I think this one's going to be a little different. Israel Adesanya, 6'4". He's going to have the 3-inch height advantage along with a 4-inch reach advantage. I think he's going to cause massive problems for DDP. Now, if DDP took anything from the Strickland Izzy fight, I know he's going to want to pressure Izzy, get right up in his grill. And I think Izzy's going to be prioritizing that in his game plan. He does not want that Strickland incident to happen again. And I think Izzy's coming in with that whole new mindset. He's not coming for the belt. He's not coming from names. He's coming to take heads. Nah, but for real, I think Izzy is going to come in with that new mindset. He's going to fight with a chip on his shoulder. And y'all know how contender Izzy is. This man's a beast. He finds finishes. He finds KOs. And I'm expecting the same thing here. I think Israel Adesanya is going to knock him out. I'm expecting a second-round finish from Izzy. I think he's going to catch DDP on the temple, have DDP doing the chicken dance. Now, Dricus is not a bad striker. I think this is a false narrative that gets pushed around a lot. Now, Dricus is definitely goofy and a little sloppy at times, but he's effective. Izzy is a lot more technical, has underrated power. And the thing about Dricus is his fighting style is not pretty at all. But he is a fighter. That's how you can describe him. He's a fighter. He's very durable. He's got pretty good cardio since he got his nose fixed. And I don't think this man has been in a boring fight in his entire career. But I can just see the storybook ending. I think Israel Adesanya is going to become a 3-time middleweight champion, win the Battle of Africa. And I can just picture him emoting all over DDP's dead carcass. Now, tell me you cannot see that in the UFC script. Israel Adesanya just finishes him, hits some type of kind of cold celebration. A lot of people don't like Izzy. They think he's cringy, but his celebrations have been fire. But I'm expecting Israel Adesanya to get this one done. I'm going to go with a round 2 KO, and I think he's going to become a 3-time middleweight champion and be right there in talks of middleweight GOAT. But that's going to be it for me. Y'all let me know who y'all got in the main event. Who's going to win, Izzy or Dricus? Be sure to comment on the video, drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and we out.